Today's video, we're continuing our coverage of the Maui massacre, which is now being referred to as worse than Pearl Harbor. We'll look into the top guys behind the wheel of it all, and also into the missing children, and of course, President Joe Biden, who literally fell asleep on the people of Maui. We also have a brand new story about FEMA's full blackout on Maui. As always, we're going to include footage that you will not find on mainstream media, so don't skip any of today's video. Let's go. Why, 2 weeks after the fire, are there still no updates on the children? We are going to be here asking about them every single day until we get solid answers. Greg Gutfeld went off about the Maui fire cover-up and the missing children, and he made some very interesting points.
This, to me, is like the quietest tragedy ever. Isn't it strange how quiet everything is? And in this case, no news is probably bad news. You don't hear from families of tourists because maybe it's not tourists that are still dead. You know, silence from the locals because maybe they're gone. And then the officials don't say anything because this is possibly worse than anybody imagines. You're not going to see anybody. And it's kind of scary who these people might be, right? They might not be adults. And I think that this is a really horrible tragedy.
Cernovich tweeted, 400 students from the burn area have enrolled in other public schools. 200 signed up for distance learning. Out of 3,000 students, 600 are accounted for enrolled in school. How many children died in Maui? Hundreds? Thousands? No one will say. Joe Biden is now on his way back to his Lake Tahoe vacation home after a quick flyover in Maui. Surely he addressed the missing children issue, right? Wrong. 67 Corvette was trending all over Twitter after hearing Joe Biden talk about losing his home and then telling the story of when lightning struck his house in 2004, saying he almost lost his 67 Corvette and his cat. Thousands missing and dead. One of the world's most scenic beach towns is now a toxic ruin, and Joe Biden can relate to it all with a story about his car and a cat.
I don't want to compare difficulties, but we have a little sense, Jill and I, what it's like to lose a home. Years ago, now 15 years ago, I was in Washington doing Meet the Press. It was a sunny Sunday, and lightning struck at home on a little lake that's outside of our home, not a lake, a big pond, and hit a wire and came up underneath our home into the heating ducts, the air conditioning duct. To make a long story short, I almost lost my wife, my 67 Corvette, and my cat.
Okay, Biden never lost his home from a lightning strike. He had a small kitchen fire that was contained in less than 20 minutes. And the fact that he went to Hawaii with almost 1,000 people missing, over 100 dead, and no one has a home anymore, and said, I lost my home too, a lie, when there was a small kitchen fire, that was pretty disgraceful.
Americans are not reacting well to this.
It is almost impossible to believe that this guy, that this old man, this Walmart greeter, and I know that we have a constitutional crisis of epic proportion, but hearing you talk about your house that, had a little fire, you almost lost your cat and your Corvette. There are children that were incinerated to ash. You vile human being.